All right, what's up? Tim Sykes here. Wanted to do a video just going over a lot of the trends that I'm seeing. There's so many cross currents right now, and it's important to try to understand them so that you can profit. Before I begin, I got to give a big shout out to Jack Kellogg. Now over $22 million in trading profits. Mind blowing. Basically just crushing it. He's got his own 7-figure cycles. I'll link it below this video. Every single one of you should join him because he does swing trades. I'm in and out in a few minutes, a few hours, sometimes a few days max over the weekend. But Jack is holding for days and weeks. He just nailed UNH. He's made a few million on that. He just nailed Tesla, or TSLL. He just made $247,000 today. And he also has been swinging RR. He's up a few $100,000 on that too. So he might even be up over like 24 million now or 25 million. We'll see how his swings goes. But shout out to him. Every single one of you in the challenge should specifically tune into his webinars. This is why we have multiple mentors in the challenge, because he takes big size now. Remember, he was a challenge student just 7 years ago. He started, he was down 10 grand after his first 18 months. And he gradually grew it up. And now, because he has this big account, he can take bigger positions and win bigger. This is the promise for all of you. I know you think like, oh, I can't make millions. Yes, you can. If I can make millions, if Jack can make millions, anybody can do this. Leave a comment below this video at any point during this video, preferably now, and say, I promise to make millions over time. Type it. Say it out loud and actually believe it, because guess what? It's possible. None of my 50 millionaire students now or myself are that smart or that good at math, but we recognize patterns. So Jack is crushing it with his swing trades. But guess what? It's not just about swing trades. CWD was last week, but I bring it up because this is still influencing the market. When you get these giant supernovas, CWD was one, Octo was another one, QF was another one, it puts shorts in a position where they're off guard because they start to realize the risks that they take. I still do not short sell. I still do not recommend short selling. Yes, there's money in it if you can outlast the squeezes, if you're experienced enough, but even experienced short sellers are getting close to blowing up. Some are blowing up. So I certainly don't think newbies should be doing it, but you should be aware of it. And you should always thank short sellers, as I always say. We're grateful for their sacrifice, because these kinds of spikes, this is what buyers want. Any one of these plays can catch shorts off guard if there's enough shorts. And this is what, short sellers are most scared of. And right now, the number one catalyst for stock spiking are short sellers getting squeezed. There's too many shorts. There's an overpopulation of them, and they all trade together. That's the beautiful thing. I used to be a short seller, so they all group together in these clandestine chat rooms. They're kind of like the new promoters, although I think they're shadier because, promoters never spiked stocks this far and this fast because they were afraid of being investigated. Shorts don't want to spike the stocks this far and this fast, but they inadvertently do so due to margin calls, due to getting squeezes. Watch literally my first third of my now 10,000 video lessons. I got a 10,000 video lesson library now on Profitly. Watch the first third of them. 3,000 of them. The vast majority of them are on short selling. So even if you're not a short seller, know thy enemy. Short sellers are your enemy. And they're also kind of like frenemies because they create opportunities even though they don't want to. But the reason why I bring this up is because every play that's spiking, shorts are scared that it's going to pull a QMMM or a CLDS last week. Went from 2 to 10. I literally was trying to get a pre-market video lesson published. We had some tech issues with the website. I'm yelling at my programmer. And literally, as I'm yelling at him from 8:55 a.m. until 9:10 a.m. So 15 minutes, and it goes from 2 to 10. So not the same $50 to $100 a share like the other ones, but pretty freaking awesome. And then it also double topped here too. So you could have bought the dip. Actually triple topped. Actually quadruple topped. I didn't even realize that it came back to 10 so many times. But this is what, and they did a financing too. Oh, wow. 5 times, 6 times to 10 and 11. Wow. I didn't even realize that. I knew that it was spiking a few times. I didn't realize that it spiked to 10, 11, 6 times. So shorts are always scared. But I will say the reason why it's scary to chase anything in this market, because most plays are not going to go full supernova. Some people are like, oh, Tim, you only bring up a few millionaire students. You only bring up a few huge supernovas that work. Well, I bring up the millionaire students because anybody can do it. And I bring up the supernovas to show you examples of what stocks can do. But the vast majority of plays will not follow through on their supernova potential. WLDS is a great example, 2 to 10, but then second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, 6 times it tries to break 10, 11-ish, and it can't. And they did a financing too. I'm actually surprised that it's still holding up. That's not to say that it can't do it in the future, but usually when you have, a double top, triple top, quadruple top, quintuple, this is getting close to like an octuple top. Maybe one of these times it'll break through, but it's just not easy to chase, and you can't expect success. And I think that's like the biggest lesson right now. There's a lot of disappointments as I'm filming this today on September 15th. SONN is a little disappointing. It finally has come back to 6, but I actually already sold my over the weekend position. I barely made any money on it. This follows CIGL the week before, where I'm buying these stocks on a Friday, looking to sell on a Monday, but oftentimes they're spiking the best on a Friday afternoon, Friday after hours. They do spike on Monday, but it's very choppy. And, it's cool that SONN is coming back now. Hold on. Let me load this. Let me show you my trade here. So I bought it in the mid 5s into the close on Friday, sold a little because I made like $1 a share, rebought it at even lower prices. And then this morning I sold for like no follow-up spike in the low 5s. This was like 2 hours ago, and now here we are in the low 6s again. So, it's another problem where there's just so much choppiness. But congrats if you do have patience, if you're willing to sit through the chop. I'm just not. A lot of this depends on your patience and the amount of risk that you want to take. I don't like a lot of risk, and I don't have a lot of patience. So it's not an ideal market for me. People can say, oh, Tim, learn patience. No, I can't, okay? I'm not in the position that you are where you guys are still learning. You can, adapt and change. I'm too focused on teaching the process that I know, okay? I know it very well. I'm not going to change now 20 plus years in. I'll change a little bit. I'm trying to trade more of these short squeezes, but at the same time, I have my tried and true patterns, and I'm trying to pass those down to you. That's my priority. My personal trading is actually last in priority. A lot of people are like, oh, you should be making more. I donate all my trading profits to charity. I trade with a small account. I don't deny that. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm proud of that. My focus is on creating millionaires. If I can lose money on a trade, but teach you a valuable lesson, or make a very small amount of money, teach you a valuable lesson, that's a win, okay? I'm trying to show you how I adapt. And last night, if you're part of my weekend newsletter, you know that I gave a video lesson on SONN, and it's actually playing out pretty much as I said it would in the video lesson. But again, I don't regret cutting losses because that's my rule number 1. I'm not going to take big risks on the chance that it can come back. FRGT is another perfect example of my trading today. This was a nice spiker, and if you've been a part of my newsletter for a while, or if you trade penny stocks for a while, FRGT spikes very fast, and then it usually fails very fast too. Let me pull that up right here. So, past performance is indicative of future returns, and we've seen this a lot. So some people will say, Tim, well, why buy it at all? Because it can spike fast. I don't care what it finishes at for the day. I don't care what it does a few hours later. I care about stocks that have spike potential. And again, because we're in this market full of so many supernovas, just because it's failed so many times in the past doesn't mean that it has to do that. It's just like, that's what I expect. I expect it to fail. But because short sellers expect it to fail, these are the kinds of plays that can really run. I literally was like talking with some student in my chat room when CWD was running, and they're like, that's not a former runner. It always fails. And I'm like, yes, it always fails. And again, that's what lures in the short sellers. So this is not normal for a stock like CWD to go from the 2s to, the 50s. But because so many shorts were so sure that it was going to fail, the pattern inflects, okay? So again, I don't expect every play to do CWD type supernova squeezing. I don't expect big things, but these are the most possible for a giant squeeze because short sellers know that they fade most of the time, so they get way too aggressive. You need to catch the short sellers off guard. That's when these plays can really go. CWD, Octo, QMMM, WLDS, there's a bunch of them. already today. I wasn't even up earlier. I should give a shout out to people who wake up earlier. I say wake up early, but it's just so tough when I'm back in America. It's such an advantage when I was in Europe. Look at these people. These are all timestamped. This is the beautiful thing in the chat room. It's all timestamped and archived too, so you can see. Shout out to also Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos is in chat. He's up around 300,000 this month. Pretty amazing. And he's Mexican, so I'm like, yo, that's a lot of pesos. Good job. But look at these people getting up. Shout out to IC Squirrel, Bubba, Trader Bill, Jim Boy, Queen, Samzy, Maya, Gabrielle, Mosey, so many people waking up early and capitalizing on these pre-market spikes. So this is the thing. Right now, there's a lot of choppiness. Forget about CWD. Let's talk about Czech for a second. Czech, very nice spiking earlier today. This was around 7 a.m. until 7:30 a.m., $1.80 up to the fours. And now look at it, halted, choppy, just not much going on. You got to wake up earlier. And I got to say this to myself too, but again, I'm at a huge disadvantage compared to you guys. You guys don't have as much going on as I do, and I don't say that as a bad thing. I'm just saying it as a real thing. I have way too much going on. Everyone wants my time. Everyone's like, come on. And I'm like, yeah, take a number. I'm behind on everything. I have 3 books, 3 charity documentaries. I live a very full life and I'm very blessed, but I am behind. So I need to sleep sometimes, and today was one of those days where I wanted to sleep in. I got up when I saw Czech right around here, like just before 8 a.m. I had already missed this giant spike. And then there was also HSDT. Like, this was beautiful. This was even earlier. This was like, 4 a.m. until 7 a.m. So, congrats if you buy the breakout. My last video lesson, all I said was basically buy the high of the day breakout on these runners. That would have worked beautifully on HSDT. Let's see if, I haven't even looked back at the chat room. I'm sure, a few people nailed it. BTBD was running, HSDT, Mosey missed it. Oh, Trader Bill nailed it from the 17s to the 20s. There we go. Mosey nailed it around 20. Raminga banked on HSDT around $1,000. So these are people waking up early, capitalizing on these pre-market runners. Awesome job. GPUS, wow. Look at Jeff Dewey on GPUS in at 60 cents, out at $1.48. I didn't even see GPUS. Too many plays, guys. It's a good problem. GPUS, wow, look at this. I saw that it was a runner. I didn't see the chart though. This is around 6 a.m. and you have the news because they're doing a crypto treasury. Crypto treasury stocks are in play. This thing spikes from 40 cents up to $1.75. And this is, 6 a.m. This is 6:12 a.m. So some people are like, Tim, why are you in and out so quick like I was on FRGT? Well, FRGT, when you make nearly $1,000, for me at least, I'm going to lock it in. That's pretty good for me lately. Had I been awake, I probably would have bought some shares. I probably would have bought like 5,000 shares. I doubt I would have got it right away. But, you got to add these big percent gainers pre-market to your watch list. Best guess, I would have bought it 5,000 shares here at like 70 cents a share and flipped it at like 90 cents. That's me. This is what I do, okay? I know myself. 50 cents or 70 cents to 90 cents on 5,000 shares, 20 cents a share, it's $1,000. I wouldn't have waited for this red candle, and I wouldn't have been there probably for these 2 giant squeeze candles. But I'm proud of people who were there. Jeff Dewey in at 60 cents, out at $1.48. Mosey's like should have sold GPUS. Maya took some of TSLL. Yeah. Oh wow, look at this. Johnson Keith. This is what I'm saying. So right now, choppiness. I don't mind playing it too safe. If you want like an overview of this video, playing it too safe, but I don't mind doing that. The best, easiest time to trade is pre-market right now. Look at this trade from Johnson. In on check at $1.90, just sold at $2.87. Look at check this morning. Okay, this was right here. And again, buying the high of the day breakout. Click the link below. I'm going to include a link from my last video lesson where I specifically talk for 30 minutes. I gave a video lesson during a live challenge webinar last week when to actually buy these crazy runners. If you want to focus on a pattern that's repeatable and low risk, you buy the high of the day breakout. This initial spike, that's fantastic. It was spiking Friday after hours too. So, you have a nice 2-day spike right here. This is around 7 a.m. So Friday's high was like $2 and 50 cents a share. So if you were quick, I mean, you have to be so quick. When it breaks 250 right here and it goes up to 3, and this is in 2 minutes. Let me just zoom in. This is literally at 7:10 a.m., 2 minutes, it breaks 250. You can buy 3,000 shares and you flip it, but it's so fast. Had I been up, maybe I would have gotten it. Maybe I would have missed it. I certainly wouldn't have been able to alert it. But then there's a secondary breakout. This secondary breakout is easier. You don't just have to be right, for 2 minutes. You actually have 4 minutes. So it's a nice luxury. But look at this breakout over 3 now. So it's using these key levels as resistance. And this is the kind of action that scares shorts. And it's very, very fast. Look at the volume. Thing is trading 1 million, 2 million shares in a minute. 250 up to 450. 250 is at the bottom of the candle. The top of the candle is 3 to 450. But again, this is about buying the high of the day breakouts. I don't know, had I been in this, it's getting close to breaking out here, but then you have 2 red candles. And this is scary for me. Like, this is me getting chopped out. Had I been awake, it can't get back to 3. 280s down to 250s. This is my risk. This doesn't look like much on the chart. Right there. That would have squeezed me out, okay? That would have scared me out. So if you're like me, I mean, this is why I say buy the high of the day breakout with the volume surge. And you can clearly see the volume surge under 500,000 per minute here, over 1 million shares. So the volume doubles and triples for these 4 minutes. That's when you got to buy. Props to, who was it who nailed it? Johnson. Johnson in at 190, out at 287. Looks like he gave it a little bit of time. But that's the beautiful thing. I mean, that's literally making 90 cents a share, nearly 50% in a pre-market, okay? That is the beautiful, beautiful thing about pre-market spikers. Raminga made $1,000 on HSDT. Johnson made 3,000. And by the way, Johnson only invested about 6,000. So I know there's a lot of hate with penny stocks, like you can't grow a small account. Yes, you can. You just got to focus on the right trades and the right patterns and the right times. So, it's easy, for me to say buy here, sell there, but the students are doing it. I'm not even awake at this point. This is what I love. I'm teaching you guys a process so you're self-sufficient. Look at this. Slow trades also made 10% on CHEK. I saw Roger tweeted also, bought at 240, sold half at 340, sold the rest at 420. So nearly doubling his money. And here's Dan H. And if you're in the challenge chat, it's a lot of the same people. Why? Because they're getting it over and over again. That's the beauty of this. And mind you, these guys are just starting. They're buying a few hundred shares or a few thousand shares. People like Jack Kellogg, people like Juan Carlos, a lot of my top millionaire students, they're doing the same trades on a longer period of time, and they're doing it with bigger size. That's all this comes down to. So that's the beautiful thing. I know a lot of people are making money like, oh, look at Tesla, look at the market. Everyone looks like a genius when you're buying stocks in the NASDAQ and the markets are up 35% in a few months. This is one of the biggest runs in history. Trust me, you're not a genius. Nobody is a genius right now. A lot of us are just in the right place at the right time. And I wish I had more patience. I'm in the right place at the right time, but it's not my go-to strategy. These spikers are my go-to strategy, and I'm not in the right time zone right now. The good news is I'm leaving this time zone soon, so I'll get back to, being better prepared pre-market. But I love this, right? So many people are banking. Torben also made money on Open. Open has a lot of hype right now, and that one's spiking too. But the long story short, there's a lot of choppiness, but you don't have to trade when there's a lot of choppiness. I'm filming this midday on a Monday. I'm not trading. A lot of the biggest morning spikers failed. CHEK was nice during these few minutes when it was spiking, but now, scroll out, there's nothing. It's dead to me. Maybe it comes back. Maybe it can squeeze. Maybe it can pull like an SONN. RR is spiking up 13%. Props to, Jack has literally just been swinging this one. He's just on fire. I'm looking at the biggest percent gainers. RSL just popped up on my watch list. Okay, so this one's going up nicely. NAOV. Yeah, that's a little bit. It's just tough to trade really this choppiness. So for me, I'd rather not trade the choppiness. Personally, I nailed FRGT and SONN I mistimed, but I still made a little bit of money because I sold some Friday after hours. I had that small loss on ISPC. again, for me, I'm okay with taking small losses, being wrong sometimes, but trying to be there when there's a big spiker. And I mean, every single day, literally every single day, there's a big spiker. A lot of the time, you just have to wake up earlier. Props to HSDT. I mean, same kind of thing. Anybody who bought this high of the day breakout right here. And you can see, like, high of the day, pre-market at 4:53 a.m. You got to really wake up early. Like, the high is $24 a share. Right here, it breaks it. But not every high of the day breakout is necessarily going to be huge. Like, that's the thing. Not every play is going to go full supernova. Not every high of the day breakout is going to go absolutely insane. But if you focus on the plays that can go supernova, and you focus on the high of the day breakouts that can go, up a lot, your odds of success go up dramatically because you're focused on the right patterns, on the right plays. So let's say I had bought this high of the day breakout here, had I been awake at 5:30 a.m. The previous high is like 24. It goes up to what? What did it get up to right here? Nice little breakout. I mean, this is crazy in like 2 minutes to go from 21 to 26, but this is the volatility we're talking about. You have like basically 4 minutes where it just doesn't do much near the highs. So no big breakout. So had I been in this, probably small win, probably small loss, but it's a scratch. But again, you get another high of the day breakout here at 544 attempt, and then it fails. So this definitely would have been a small loss. But then the third time is the charm. And you can see here, it breaks 26, and within 2 minutes, it's up to 32. And, 2 more minutes later, it's up to 32 again too. But like, this is a solid 4 to 5 minutes. And then again, if you really want to keep going with the high of the day breakouts, I mean, there's no limit to how many times you can buy the high of the day breakout. But actually the fifth time was the best charm because this was in 5 minutes and it goes from 31 to 51. This is, the biggest squeeze. And mind you, the stock is down to 19 now. So shorts aren't wrong for betting against this, but you want to try to be there during this kind of insane run up. This whole thing from 21 to 51, this is, 6:30 a.m., let me get exact numbers, 6:33 a.m., and this is 6:50 a.m. So the thing spikes $30 a share in 15 minutes. So that's the upside. And again, not every play is going to do this, but every day there has been a big runner like this. Shorts love it. Shorts are banking. And I think that's probably why, we're not seeing that many spikers so far today, because if you were a short, if you, let's say, didn't get caught in this and you saw this, let's say a lot of short sellers are not shorting at 4 or 5 a.m. because now they realize how far these things can go, but they start shorting at 6, 7, 8 a.m. Just a little time delay. Let's say you're a short seller and you're waking up and you short here in the 45s, 50s, and now look at it. Now it's down to the 20s. You've already made like $25, $30 a share on your short. So if you're a short seller and you're late, it can happen. But again, as a short seller, you never know exactly when the top is, especially if you're a newbie short seller. But I think, we're having this back and forth of shorts versus longs. Last week was clearly a win for longs, especially early in the week. By the end of the week, a lot of the plays did fade and short sellers recouped their losses and some made back even more. And to start this week, again, we've had a few big attempted squeezes like HSDT, like SONN, like NAOV. What's check doing? Like check, check got up to the mid 4s, and now here we are in the mid 2s. So we're seeing a lot of big spikes with a lot of big fades. Long story short, it's a choppy market. Try to buy the high of the day breakouts on the pre-market, especially. I think that's working well, or, even into the close and after hours. We'll see what comes up later today for that. But there's opportunities galore and there's volatility galore. So you're just trying to take a piece of the move. You're trying to learn from it. If you miss, if you sell too soon, if you take a loss, don't feel too bad. You're learning. That's today's lesson. I'll link my last video lesson below, and I'll also link, Jack Kellogg's newsletter, which I think is great for swing trading. See ya.